So the 2024 NFL Draft is almost here, and because of that, I decided to come on here and give my final 2024 NFL mock draft. So, yeah, man, before we do get started, a few notes. One, I'm only gonna, this is gonna be based off what I would do personally, at least for the most part. Second off, I am gonna include trades in this video. And then last thing, I'm going to be doing the first round, and because this is my final mock draft, I'm also going to be including some extra picks, those being picks 33, 42, and 54, because the Panthers, Texans, and Browns don't have first round picks. So I decided, you know what, why not include them? So yeah, but yeah, before we do, of course, before we do also get started, I do want to say, hit that like button if you guys end up enjoying this video, since it really does help out the channel. And of course, subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy content like this, so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one you're watching right now. And I'm also trying to hit 2,000 subscribers, and when I do reach my goal, I will do a Q&A. But yeah, man, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this video started. Alright, so with the first overall pick via the Carolina Panthers, I got the Chicago Bears taking Caleb Williams, a quarterback from USC. Look, nothing really has to be said here. I mean, we know Caleb Williams is going to be the #1 overall pick. I'm not even going to spend any more time on this one. Now with the second overall pick, I got the Washington Commanders taking Drake May, a quarterback from North Carolina. I know there's rumors here that Jayden Daniels will be the pick, but personally, if I was the Commanders, I would just take Drake May. I mean, to me, he's the clear-cut second best quarterback in the class, and I mean, again, if I'm the Commanders, I think they should 100% take him here at #2. But I mean, if they went with Jayden Daniels at #2 and he fell to #3 for my Patriots to scoop him up, I mean, I wouldn't hate it, to be honest, as a Patriots fan. But again, if I was the Commanders, I would take Drake May. Now with the third overall pick, I actually do have a trade here. I got the Minnesota Vikings trading up to #3, so they're going to be getting the 3rd pick and the 103rd pick in this year's draft, while the New England Patriots get #11, #23, #129, a 2025 first rounder, and a 2026 first rounder as well. And with that 3rd overall pick via the Patriots, I got the Minnesota Vikings taking Jayden Daniels, a quarterback from LSU. Jayden Daniels is the 3rd best quarterback in this year's draft class, and he could be the perfect successor that the Vikings have been looking for. The successor to Kirk Cousins that the Vikings are going to be looking for this in this year's NFL draft. And we know Minnesota is going to be taking a quarterback this year. We know that they want one. We know that they are a prime candidate to trade up. And in my opinion, I mean, yeah, the Vikings, they are giving up a lot, but you got to understand, they're trading up into the top 3. They're trading up 8 spots, and the Patriots are the team with a lot of they're the ones with leverage. So the Vikings, yes, they are giving up a lot, but I mean, it does make sense that they will be giving up a lot to move up to #3. And you know, personally, as a Patriots fan, if Caleb Williams and Drake May are the 1st and 2nd overall picks, and we want to take a quarterback, I think it would be a smarter move to actually trade down and get some more assets so we can build up this team and then take a quarterback. Because frankly, I mean, I hate to say it as a Pats fan again, I mean, our supporting cast just isn't very good, namely the wide receiving core. So yeah, I mean, I think this trade makes sense for both sides, and I think this pick makes a lot of sense. With the 4th overall pick, I got the Arizona Cardinals taking Marvin Harrison Jr., a wide receiver from Ohio State. Look, nothing really has to be said here. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is here, I think the Cardinals should stay put and take him. And personally, I think the Cardinals will take him if he is available at #4. With the 5th overall pick, I got the Los Angeles Chargers taking Malik Nabers, a wide receiver from LSU. The Chargers wide receiving core right now is just downright terrible, and they could trade back, but I couldn't think of a team to trade back with. And you know, the Malik Nabers, in most classes, he would be the best wide receiver, but because Marvin Harrison exists, he's not. But with all that said, Malik Nabers is a phenomenal prospect, and he would be absolutely lethal with Justin Herbert throwing him the rock. And, I mean, I think if he is here and Marvin Harrison isn't here, I mean, personally, if I'm the Chargers, I'm taking him. With the 6th overall pick, I got the New York Giants taking Rome Odunze, a wide receiver from Washington. The Giants can go in a few directions with this pick, but I think they really need to focus on supporting their supporting. They got to focus on improving their supporting cast before they look for a quarterback, as they need offensive talent damn near everywhere on offense. I mean, and they really do need a number one wide receiver. And Rome Odunze, I think he's a clear-cut third best wide receiver in the draft, and he would give the Giants a bona fide number one wide receiver, which they really haven't had since Odell Beckham was with the team. So I think Rome Odunze, if he is here, is a pretty likely pick. And again, if I'm the Giants in this scenario, I would take him. With the 7th overall pick, I got the Tennessee Titans taking Joe Alt, a tackle from Notre Dame. Look, nothing really has to be said here either. If Joe Alt is available, I think the Titans should take him, and I think they will take him, no questions asked, so we might as well just stop wasting time on this one. With the 8th overall pick, I got the Atlanta Falcons taking Jared Verse, an edge rusher from Florida State. The Falcons should be addressing edge rusher with their first round pick, and Jared Verse, in my opinion, is the best edge rusher in the draft, and if he's here, which, I mean, he probably will be, I think Atlanta should take him. So I believe I have had Jared Verse going to the Falcons for all 4 of my mock drafts, including this one, and yeah, it's a little bit boring, but hey, it's what I think they should do, and I think it would be a good move personally. With the 9th overall pick, I have the Chicago Bears taking Laiatu Latu, an edge rusher from UCLA. The Bears do need another edge rusher next to Montez Sweat, and I think they should be taking one at number 9, not a receiver here. I mean, if Rome Odunze is here, then maybe you think about it, but I mean, he's not, and in my opinion, edge rusher is a second edge rusher is a way bigger need than a number 3 wide receiver. And you know, Laiatu Latu to me is the second best edge rusher in the draft, and unless Jared Verse is here, I think the Bears should take him, and he would form a really good duo with Montez Sweat. With the 10th overall pick, I got the New York Jets taking Olu Fashanu, a tackle from Penn State. Look, I know Brock Bowers taking him here would sound super enticing, and I do think a trade back is also plausible. However, while the Jets did sign Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses, you got to keep in mind that both of those guys are pretty old, and Tyron Smith, for as good as he is also pretty injury prone. So I think Olu Fashanu is the clear-cut second best tackle in this year's draft, and you know, he could serve as a really good swing tackle to start off his career, and then slowly he could be, you know, your left or right tackle, just a tackle for the future. So if I'm the Jets, I mean, I would probably take him here. With the 11th overall pick via the Minnesota Vikings, I got my New England Patriots taking J.J. McCarthy, a quarterback from Michigan. Now, this is a mix of what I would do and then a prediction. If we do trade back, let's say with the Vikings in this case, and, you know, guys like J.J., Bo Nix, and Michael Penix are available, then yeah, I would definitely take one of those guys at pick number 11. Now, I went with J.J. McCarthy because while I do have a late first/early second round grade on him, I do think he will go way higher in real life. And J.J. McCarthy, he is raw, and there are things he needs to work on. However, he does have the tools to succeed, and he does have some pretty good qualities about him. And with time, I definitely think he could be our franchise quarterback. With the 12th overall pick via the Denver Broncos, I got the at the 12th overall pick, I almost forgot to mention, I got a trade here. I got the Los Angeles Rams trading up at number 12, so they're going to be getting number 12, number 76, number 136, while the Broncos get number 19, number 52, number 99, number 155, and number 196. So there's the trade. And with the 12th overall pick, as I was saying before, via the Denver Broncos, I got them taking Dallas Turner, an edge rusher from Alabama. The Rams front seven really needs some reinforcements, especially after Aaron Donald retired. And Dallas Turner, to me, is the clear-cut third best edge rusher in the draft. And while he can improve his ability to stop the run, he is a superb athlete and just a really good pass rusher. And, you know, the reason why I got this trade going down, I've said it before. In fact, I had the Rams and Broncos trading up in one of my previous mock drafts. And, you know, the Rams, they got a lot of they got quite a few draft picks, so I think they are a prime trade up candidate. While the Broncos, they need draft picks, and while they do need a quarterback and they could stay put and take one here, at the same time, they do have several needs and they do lack draft capital, so I think they definitely should seriously consider trading back just a little bit, getting some more assets, and then trying to take a quarterback. With the 13th overall pick, I got the Las Vegas Raiders taking Bo Nix, a quarterback from Oregon. Look, the Raiders, they did sign Gardner Minshew, who is pretty serviceable, and honestly, Aiden O'Connell's also a pretty decent backup as well, and he was all right for the Raiders, like he was serviceable, and the Raiders could also go with cornerback or tackle here. However, Las Vegas, if they want to make the playoffs and, build on their surprising 2023 season, they need a better quarterback than Gardner Minshew, because while he is serviceable, as I said before, he's not, he is limited for sure. Bo Nix, he is the best quarterback available right now in this scenario, and he's a solid all-around guy with really good physical tools, pretty good accuracy, and good decision-making. I mean, the only knocks I really have on him, the main ones I have, is, the fact that he is an older prospect, plus he did play in a system that did simplify his reads, but with all that said, I'm a big believer in Bo Nix. I know I'm an Oregon fan for college football, so I am a little bit biased, but I think Bo Nix is really good, and I definitely think he could be the Raiders' next franchise quarterback. Now at the 14th overall pick, I do have another trade. I got the Cardinals trading up with the Saints, so I got the Cardinals getting pick number 14, number 45, and number 168, while the Saints get number 27, number 35, number 71, number 138, and number 186. And with that 14th overall pick via the Saints, I have the Arizona Cardinals taking Terrion Arnold, a cornerback from Alabama. The Cardinals have a lot of draft picks, especially in the top 100, while the Saints, they have their first and second round picks, but then after that, it's just a bunch of late round, like 5th round picks. So I think Arizona is actually a prime trade up candidate, and I think I've had them trade up in all of my mock drafts that I included trades in. And, the Cardinals, I think they should definitely consider trading up, and they need a number one corner. And Terrion Arnold, he could be that guy. As in my opinion, he's the best cornerback in the draft. I mean, he's fast. I think he's faster than what his 40 time says he is. He has good ball skills. He's smart, really good in zone coverage, and he's a really good tackler. So Terrion Arnold, he would be a really good pickup for the Cards. With the 15th overall pick, I got the Indianapolis Colts taking Brock Bowers, a tight end from Georgia. Now, I had a tough time deciding between him or a cornerback, but I went with him since he is best player. He is the best player available. Along with that, I will say this cornerback class is somewhat deep, so Indianapolis could probably get a corner with their second round pick. But I mean, they also do need a tight end, to be fair. And along with that, I do think the Colts could also address cornerback by signing someone like a Dory Jackson or Xavier Howard after the draft. But Brock Bowers, he is a generational tight end prospect who would be absolutely lethal next to Anthony Richardson, and he'd also form a really dynamic receiving duo with Michael Pittman Jr. And again, the Colts, if they do end up taking Brock Bowers, I will say they definitely need to address cornerback in round 2 or free agency if that's the case. Now at the 16th overall pick, I do have another trade. I got the Green Bay Packers trading up with Seattle, so Green Bay gets number 61 and number 16 and number 81, while Seattle gets number 25, number 58, and number 91, and number 196, or 169, while with the 16th overall pick via the Seahawks, I got the Green Bay Packers taking Cooper DeJean, a cornerback from Iowa. I've had this trade up in the past before, and I think it's definitely one that could happen. I mean, the Packers, they got a lot of draft picks, while Seattle, they don't have a second round pick, so they could look to trade back a little bit and get some more assets. But the Packers, I think they could take an O-lineman here, but I also do think it's possible that they take a cornerback like Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean, I think the Packers would be a great landing spot for him, as he's super versatile, as he can play corner or safety. He has good ball skills. He's a really good run stopper, and he's really athletic. And, Cooper DeJean, he's one of the best cornerbacks in this draft class, and I think he could satisfy a really big need for the Green Bay Packers. Now, with the 17th overall pick, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Adonai Mitchell, a wide receiver from Texas. The Jaguars could do a lot of different things here, but I think improving the supporting cast around their franchise guy and Trevor Lawrence should be their number one priority. And after losing Calvin Ridley, they need a number one. They need another wide receiver. I mean, this wide receiving class is deep, but I'm going to take Adonai Mitchell here, and I do think that they can address cornerback, offensive line, and defensive tackle later. And Adonai Mitchell, he's tall, he's really fast, he's a good route runner, and he has pretty good hands for the most part. And I mean, if he does pan out, he could be he could be a really good number one wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So again, I know Jacksonville could go other positions here, but in my personal opinion, I think they should be taking a wide receiver here. With the 18th overall pick, I got the Cincinnati Bengals taking Taliese Fuaga, a tackle from Oregon State. The Bengals did sign Trent Brown, and I think it is actually a decent signing coming from a Patriots fan. But with all that said, Trent Brown, while he is decent, he could definitely be inconsistent due to inconsistent effort issues, and then also, his durability. And also, Trent Brown is also on a short-term deal as well. But Taliese Fuaga, he is one of the best players available, and he'd greatly improve this offensive line, which should be obviously one of the Bengals' top priorities in this year's draft, as they do have a hole at left guard. And Taliese Fuaga, he can play tackle or he could play guard due to his size. And Taliese Fuaga would be a really good addition to this offensive line, and he could be a long-term tackle for the Bengals if Trent Brown does leave after this offseason. Now with the 19th overall pick, I got the Denver Broncos via the Rams taking Michael Penix Jr., a quarterback from Washington. The Broncos do need a franchise quarterback after letting go of Russell Wilson. Michael Penix, there are legit concerns with him, like, him being older for prospect, his injury history, and he does have inconsistent ball placement sometimes. And I will also say that, he can be inconsistent under pressure as well. But Michael Penix, he has a superb arm. Like, his arm is really strong. He's a great processor, and I do think he is pretty accurate for the most part. There are things to like about Michael Penix, and while he didn't really run as much when he arrived with the Washington Huskies, he definitely does have functional athleticism even after all those injuries to, run a little bit and pick up some first downs with his legs. So Michael Penix Jr., yes, there are concerns, but there is a lot to like about him, and I do think he could be the franchise guy that Denver has been searching for since 2016. With the 20th overall pick, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking J.C. Latham, a tackle from Alabama. The Steelers' offensive line sucks right now, to say the least, and they do have a few holes on it. J.C. Latham, he is big, he's a really good run blocker, he finishes plays well, he's agile, he's super strong, and he's one of the best players available. And along with that, J.C. Latham, he could play guard if need be due to his size. So yeah, man, if I'm the Steelers, I would take an offensive lineman with my first round pick. I know they could go cornerback, they could also go wide receiver as well after trading away Deontay Johnson, but I mean, they got a hole at right tackle, and they also do have a hole at center. So again, I would take offensive line here, and I think J.C. Latham would be a really good pickup. Now at the 21st overall pick, I do have a trade here. I got the 49ers trading up, so they're going to get number 21 and number 158, while the Dolphins get number 31, number 94, number 124, and number 135. And with the 21st overall pick via the Dolphins, I got the San Francisco 49ers taking Kool-Aid McKinstry, a cornerback from Alabama. The 49ers got plenty of draft capital, unlike the Dolphins, so that's why I think this trade could happen, and I did have it occur in a previous mock draft. So yeah, the Dolphins, I think, would be smart to trade back and get some more assets, while the 49ers, they got a decent amount of draft picks, so, they definitely could trade up if they wanted to. And the 49ers, I mean, they do need a number one cornerback, and in this scenario, a lot of the great cornerbacks in this class are starting to fall, so they definitely should consider making a move if that is the case. And Kool-Aid McKinstry, he has started to suffer he has become a victim of prospect fatigue, and he did have an injury that has caused him to slip on big boards. But with all of that said, I think Kool-Aid McKinstry is still the second best cornerback in this year's draft class. I mean, he is fast, he has good ball skills, he's really good in man coverage, he's lengthy, he's a good tackler, and he does have the versatility to be on special teams as well. So as long as he can stay healthy, I think Kool-Aid McKinstry could be the #1 corner that the 49ers need. With the 22nd overall pick, I got the Philadelphia Eagles taking Quinyon Mitchell, a cornerback from Toledo. The Eagles, they need to take a cornerback in the first round, okay? Quinyon Mitchell, he is one of the best cornerbacks in this draft. He is super fast, he has really good ball skills, he's really smart, and he's a really good tackler. And Quinyon Mitchell, he could be a really good successor to both Darius Slay and James Bradberry. I mean, I've seen some mock drafts where the Eagles are going like defensive tackle, interior offensive line, and you know, if they were to address those positions later on in the draft, like the second round and whatnot, I wouldn't mind it. But the Philadelphia Eagles need to take a cornerback in round 1 because their secondary was terrible last year, and if they want to get back to the Super Bowl and possibly get over the hump and win it, they need to improve that secondary, and taking a cornerback, especially someone like Quinyon Mitchell, would do just that. With the 23rd overall pick via the Vikings, via the Browns, and via the Texans, I got the New England Patriots taking Brian Thomas, a wide receiver from LSU. The Patriots, we need to drastically improve our wide receiving core in this year's draft. I mean, Brian Thomas, he is the best wide receiver available, one of the best players available too, and you know, he has a lot of good qualities about him. He's really tall, he's really fast, he has pretty good hands, and he's a solid route runner as well. And I do think Brian Thomas could be the #1 wide receiver that we've been looking for, I mean, what feels like ages. So if we were to trade back and landed Brian Thomas in the process, I would be stoked as a Patriots fan. With the 24th overall pick, I got the Dallas Cowboys taking Jackson Powers Johnson, an interior offensive lineman from Oregon. I've gone offensive lineman for the Cowboys all 4 mock drafts, and yeah, man, I mean, they just really need to improve the interior of their O-line. Jackson Powers Johnson, he's athletic, he uses his hands well, he can run and pass block, he's really powerful, and he's a smart player, and he would just be a really good addition to this team. With the 25th overall pick via the Green Bay Packers, I got the Seattle Seahawks taking Jerzon Newton, a defensive tackle from Illinois. The Seahawks interior D-line could use some work outside of Leonard Williams, and Jerzon Newton, he is one of the best players available, and I mean, he's a really good player. I absolutely love him. He can get after the quarterback really well. He has a lot of great qualities as a pass rusher, and he's also a really good run stopper as well. And he just has almost everything you want from a defensive tackle. I think he is the best defensive tackle in this year's draft class. My only concerns with him is the fact that he is a little bit undersized, and I do think he can improve his get-off. But, you know, if he can improve his get-off, Jerzon Newton is going to be an absolute problem in the NFL. With the 26th overall pick, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Troy Fautanu, an interior offensive lineman from Washington. The Buccaneers' interior O-line sucks, to say the least, and they really need to improve it, especially if they want their run game to be better this year. Troy Fautanu, he is versatile, he is athletic, he's lengthy, he uses his hands well, and he's a really good run blocker. He would just be an absolutely fantastic addition to this team. Now with the 27th overall pick via the Cardinals and via the Texans, I got the New Orleans Saints taking Jordan Morgan, a tackle from Arizona. The Saints could also go wide receiver here, but with the trade back and getting them some more assets, and this wide receiving class being pretty deep, and pick 35 also not being that coming up soon, they could get one in the second round. And Jordan Morgan, he's a good pass blocker, he's athletic, he has pretty good size as well, and he has really good, he also does use his hands well. And the New Orleans Saints, their offensive line could use some work, especially at tackle, since Ryan Ramczyk, as crazy as it is to say, he is getting up there in age, and if I'm not wrong, he might be out for all this upcoming season due to a surgery he got. And then Trevor Penning, who they selected 2 years ago, he has just been absolutely awful for them. So I mean, maybe they give up on him and just declare him as a bust, or they try to move him into the interior to see how he does. But Jordan Morgan, I think he'd be a really good pickup for a Saints team that does need to improve their offensive line. With the 28th overall pick, I got the Buffalo Bills taking Ladd McConkey, a wide receiver from Georgia. The Bills need to draft a wide receiver in the first round, and Ladd McConkey, he's the best receiver available. I mean, he's an elite route runner. He has really good hands. He's really fast. He's really quick, and he can work all levels of the field. And he could be the number one wide receiver, I guess, and I guess like the successor to Stephon Diggs. So, yeah. With the 29th overall pick, I got the Detroit Lions taking Nate Wiggins, a cornerback from Clemson. The Lions need a number one corner if they want to get over the hump and win the Super Bowl. And Nate Wiggins, he's the best corner available. And I mean, he's tall, he's fast, he has really good hips, he's really lengthy, and he's absolutely great in man coverage. So, Nate Wiggins, I think it would be an absolutely amazing pick for the Lions. With the 30th overall pick, I got the Baltimore Ravens taking Amarius Mims, a tackle from Georgia. The Ravens could do a lot here, and it's going to be interesting to see what direction they go in, but I'm going to go with tackle in this case, since I do think there are other avenues where they can address cornerback and edge rusher later in the draft, and they could also snag some guys in free agency, and, you know, they could also address wide receiver later as well. But Amarius Mims, he has had injury issues in the past, but with all that said, when he's on the field, he is pretty good, and there are a lot of things to like about him, like the fact that he's really big, he's really agile, and he does use his hands well. And the upside, it's there. He just needs some time and some reps. So, you know, with some time, I do think Amarius Mims could be a really good tackle for the Ravens. With the 31st overall pick, I got the Miami Dolphins via the 49ers taking Graham Barton, an interior offensive lineman from Duke. The Dolphins' offensive line, like the interior of it especially, does need some reinforcements. And Graham Barton, he's super versatile, he has really good play strength, and he is a super good run blocker. And I think Graham Barton would be an absolutely fantastic addition to this Dolphins team. I mean, there's a reason why the Dolphins are viewed as one of the best and top landing spots for him. With the 32nd overall pick, I got the Kansas City Chiefs taking Troy Franklin, a wide receiver from Oregon. The Chiefs, they had a rocky regular season due to their wide receiving core just being absolutely terrible during the regular season. They picked it up in the playoffs, but it was terrible in the regular season. And I do know that they signed Marquise Brown, but with Rashee Rice being a complete moron off the field, who knows what's going to happen with him. And, you know, the Chiefs, I do think they need to address their wide receiving core in the first two rounds of this year's draft. And Troy Franklin, he's tall, he's a really good route runner, he's fast, and he has pretty solid hands as well. I do think he has a thin frame, and he does struggle with contested catches, and I do think he can also improve his catching form as well. But with all that said, Troy Franklin has a lot of good things about him, and if he can improve on some of his issues, he is going to be a monster in this league. Now, with all 32 of those picks done, I am going to go over the extra picks. So, starting things off with the number 33 pick, with the 33rd overall pick, I do have the Carolina Panthers taking Xavier Leggett, a wide receiver from South Carolina. The Panthers, I think they've done a really good job improving the squad around Bryce Young, and I like the Deontay Johnson addition. However, Adam Thielen, he is aging, and I do think the Panthers could use a deep threat to complete their revamped wide receiving core. And Xavier Leggett, he is a freak athlete who's super tall, muscular, he's fast, and he has really good hands. Now, I do think he can improve his ability to separate, but if he can improve on that, then Xavier Leggett would be an absolute monster in the NFL. And, you know, it would also be really nice for any Panthers fans who support the Gamecocks for college football. Now, in my continuation of this mock draft, with the 42nd overall pick, I had the Houston Texans taking Byron Murphy II, a defensive tackle from Texas. Now, when I did this continuation, Byron Murphy falling all the way here was super surprising, but that's just how things played out after I did, I guess, the extra picks. But yeah, man, Byron Murphy, he is the clear-cut second best defensive tackle in this year's draft, and some people think he's the best. Now, I think he's the second best, but he's still really good. I mean, he is a little bit short for defensive tackle, and he doesn't take on double teams very well, but he's really agile, and he is a superb pass rusher. And while Houston's defense is pretty good, and as a team they don't have a lot of weaknesses, they need help at defensive tackle. And Byron Murphy, he would be just that. And, you know, like Panthers fans who support the Gamecocks for college football, I mean, this pick would be really nice for any Texans fans who support the Longhorns for college football. And lastly, with the in this continuation of my mock draft, with the 54th overall pick, I had the Cleveland Browns taking Ajarian Cooper, a linebacker from Texas A&M. The Browns' defense is really good, but their linebacking core outside of JOK, it is very weak. And Ajarian Cooper, to me, I think he is the second best linebacker in the draft. I guess like a spoiler. The reason why I have him going here instead of Peyton Wilson, my linebacker 1, is because I believe the pick before the 53rd overall pick, I had Peyton Wilson going to the Eagles. But Ajarian Cooper, he is super athletic, he can blitz really well, really good when it comes to QB spies, and he's also a pretty smart player, and he's very lengthy as well. The problems with him is the fact that he can miss some tackles and be a little bit over-aggressive, and his block shedding is inconsistent. But with all that said, Ajarian Cooper is a really good player, and I think he could be really dangerous next to JOK, and he could make this Browns defense, which is already elite, even better. But with all that being said, that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. Again, like and subscribe. It really does, as it really does help out the channel. And of course, check me out on social media. The links to my Twitter and Instagram are in the description below. But with all that being said, I'm out, you guys.